Last week we had a much needed response. 11-4 in picks last week, although we still got to improve the against the spread. 1-2-1 against the spread last week. We'll see if I can improve tomorrow. As tomorrow will be the college football picks against the spread and the NFL picks against the spread. College football we've had a hot streak, but the NFL we've just had a cold streak. I'm hoping I can improve. Let's try to get 3-1. That's kind of the goal. So hopefully the tides change for NFL picks pretty soon. Hopefully it can start this week. But for now, straight up picks is what I've been good at. 11-4 overall last week. That is a much needed response after 2 abysmal weeks in a row. So I'm hoping to keep going on that right track. So let's get to the Week 5 NFL picks. First off, we have the Thursday night football game between the Indianapolis Colts and the New England Patriots. And I'm going to go with something that is not really going to be expected. I'm taking the Patriots to win this game, but not by much. I think it's going to be a surprisingly low-scoring game. I think the Patriots win this game 23-16. I think we're going to see not very many points on the board. I know a lot of people are expecting points because the Patriots defense has some inconsistencies and the Colts defense has some inconsistencies. I know we're expecting an offensive battle between Andrew Luck and Tom Brady, but I think it's going to be a low-scoring game than what people are thinking. I'm saying New England wins 23-16. Next, we have the Denver Broncos versus the New York Jets. And I think the Broncos will win, and I think they're going to play with a chip on their shoulder, especially letting the Monday Night Football game slip away from them. I know that the refs made a mistake, and it should have been a delay of game penalty, but the Broncos still couldn't get the job done. And I think the Broncos take advantage of a weak, not really a weak quarterback, but a rookie quarterback that's very inexperienced in Sam Darnold. I think the Broncos get the win. Next, we have the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions. And I'm going with the Lions here. I think the Packers right now, I just don't know what to think of them. They've tied the Vikings. They had to come back against the Bears in Week 1. They lost to the Redskins by double digits. The Packers will get back up to the rate they want to be, but it's not going to be right now. I think the Detroit Lions are going to pull off a home victory over the Green Bay Packers. I think the Lions pick up a 31-27 victory. Next, we have the New York Giants versus the Carolina Panthers. And I like the Panthers coming off a bye. I think the Panthers having that much-needed rest, the much-needed bye week. I think Carolina will fire on all cylinders in this game. I like the Panthers big. Next, we have the Tennessee Titans versus the Buffalo Bills. And the Titans are shockingly 3-1. They're coming off a shocking overtime win against the Philadelphia Eagles last week. But Buffalo, the last time we kind of laughed at the Buffalo Bills, they came out and beat up on the Vikings. But I think the Tennessee Titans are going to get this win here. I just feel like they're silencing the doubters right now, kind of myself included. Some would say the Titans could be undefeated right now. But they're 3-1, and I think they're going to be 4-1 after this weekend. I got the Titans winning this matchup. Next, we have the Atlanta Falcons and the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a must-win for both teams if they want to stay in the playoff picture. It was announced earlier this week that Le'Veon Bell will be returning to the Steelers in Week 7 during the team's bye week. But right now, the Falcons, they have so many injuries on defense. Kind of more injuries than you can count on your fingers. But I think the Pittsburgh Steelers get the win here in Heinz Field. This is kind of the type of game we're going to see a lot of points in this game. It could easily be 42-38. We could see a game right in that range. Or it could be the first defense to get 3 stops wins or first defense to get a turnover wins. But I just think that Steelers defense is a little bit better than the Falcons defense. I just feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is kind of, I think they're getting there. I think they've got some potential. And plus, there's too many injuries on the Atlanta Falcons defense for Ben Roethlisberger not to take advantage of. You may not have Le'Veon Bell and James Conner may be inconsistent in running. It may have his rushing yard statistics may have gone down ever since Week 1. But you still have Antonio Brown, you still have Juju Smith-Schuster to light up your receiving game, and I think Pittsburgh gets the win. Next, we have the Baltimore Ravens versus the Cleveland Browns. The Browns, a heartbreaking loss in overtime to the Raiders last week. Baker Mayfield had 4 turnovers in that game. And the Ravens, Is this Ravens team for real? They did beat the Buffalo Bills in week 1, but week 2 they struggled against the Bengals, but they dominated against the Broncos, and they were dominant in the game against the Steelers on Sunday Night Football last week. I don't know. I really can't really trust the Ravens, but I'm going to pick the Ravens here over the Browns. The Browns could be undefeated right now if it weren't for special teams and turnovers. So this could be another heartbreaking loss for the Browns. This could be another game where the Browns have the chances to win, but they are unable to get the win. So I think the Ravens win a very close one. I don't think it's going to be by double digits. I think it'll be by about 3 or 4. Next we have the Miami Dolphins versus the Cincinnati Bengals. And I'm taking the Bengals. I know they had a last-second victory against the Atlanta Falcons last week. And the Dolphins have just... I think they've been pushed back to reality after last week's blowout loss against the New England Patriots. I think the Dolphins are back to reality. The Bengals, I think they're going to get there. Right when it comes playoff time, if they happen to be there, they'll get back to reality then. Next we have what I think is to be the game of the week. The Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I think this is going to be a hard game to pick. I think this game goes in either direction, but I think the home crowd in Kansas City is going to be the difference of this matchup. It's going to be interesting watching Pat Mahomes go up against the Jaguars defense. This is going to be the toughest defense that Pat Mahomes has faced so far. But I think when I look at this game, I think your X factor is going to be Kareem Hunt. The Jaguars, they struggle stopping the run. And I think the Chiefs are going to run the ball right down Jacksonville's defense. And I think the Chiefs pick up the victory. Next we have the Oakland Raiders and the Los Angeles Chargers. And I'm going with the Chargers. I just think the Chargers, I think they're going to be a team to watch out for as we get deeper into the season. Because the Chargers just missed the playoffs last season. And I think they are in the cusps of making a playoff run. So I got the Chargers winning. Although they did just survive last week against the 49ers, it did take them a bit to get going. But I think the Chargers, it may take them a little bit to get going in this one too. But I think they're going to pull it out in the end. Next we have the Minnesota Vikings versus the Philadelphia Eagles. And with Carson Wentz versus Kirk Cousins. This game is going to be a lot closer than it was in the NFC Championship game last year. But I still think the Eagles get the win. I know the Eagles haven't really looked the best the last couple of weeks, but Carson Wentz is getting there. I think Carson Wentz is a talented QB, and it's going to take him a bit to kind of get back into things. But I think it could finally start here. I feel like that Vikings defense is very overrated. And I think Carson Wentz will be able to pick apart that Vikings defense, just like Nick Foles did in the NFC Championship game. I've got the Eagles. Next we have the Los Angeles Rams versus Seattle Seahawks. Earl Thomas is on the injury reserves, so the heart and soul of that defense is on the injury reserve right now, and I think the Seahawks are going to be in trouble anyways. I think the Rams are just firing on all cylinders right now. I think the Rams stay unbeaten. Next we have the Arizona Cardinals and the San Francisco 49ers. Alright, honestly, we've had ties in the NFL this week. We've had games going to overtime. We could have had 2 ties last week. Just 2 games went into overtime. But if there is a tie this week, it would be this one. Because both quarterbacks are very inexperienced in this matchup, Josh Rosen and CJ Beathard. Honestly, the storylines for this already, it's setting up for a 7-7 tie. But I think the 49ers literally win this game 13-10 in overtime. I think it's going to be that crappy of a game. I think it's going to be that crappy of an outcome. This is probably going to be the game of the week that gets viewed the least amount of times. The 49ers win your boring game of the week 13-10 in overtime. Next we have the Dallas Cowboys versus the Houston Texans. Sunday Night Football. I'm going to take the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys will finish 8-8 this season. At least they're on the pace to do that. But this is going to be an interesting matchup. Dak Prescott versus Deshaun Watson. However, I think your running game of Ezekiel Elliott is going to be a difference in this matchup. I think the Cowboys win by 3 points. I feel like the Cowboys defense, I think they're going to get a stop in the last 2 minutes of the game. And finally, your Monday Night Football game, the Washington Redskins versus the New Orleans Saints. The Redskins have some momentum going because they were just off a bye and they're coming off a big win against the Packers and your bye week. However, the Saints at home, it's almost an impossible task to pull off an upset on Monday Night Football in New Orleans. And I think the Saints pick up the win. Although that Saints defense, though, I'm not sold on it quite yet. I don't think it's as good as it was last year. And plus, Alex Smith is your kind of game manager. I think the Saints pick up a shockingly close 27-23 victory. So those are my picks this week. For those of you keeping score at home, I've got the Patriots, Broncos, Lions, Panthers, Titans, Steelers, Ravens, Bengals, Chiefs, Chargers, Eagles, Rams, 49ers, Cowboys, and Saints all winning this week. Comment your picks down below. Also like, share, and subscribe. I will see you next time for my picks against the spread. Let's hope I can improve. I'm only 31% accuracy for the season for the NFL. But on the bright side, we're 60% in college football. So I will see you then. Let's make some good picks.